Good morning. All right, real quick, some of the announcements are up there, but unfortunately they didn't send me this so I could put it all up there. So I'm going to run through these real quick. Truck or treat is tonight. You can still bring candy. We can always use more candy.
If not, we'll eat it.
And if it's left over, it'll be taken care of. Starting, we're going back to Wednesday night services over in the event center, just like we were. It'll be that way through the end of the year. Ladies doormat activity is up there. Deepwater Junior High tree centerpiece is up there. Dinner theater outreach tickets go on sale Sunday, November the 3rd. So if you'd like to buy seats at that table to invite your friends and neighbors to come to the dinner theater, get them there. Still have 7 volunteer shifts to fill at Mark Lowry hometown. Don't laugh, you could do it too. That's the weekend of November 8th through the 9th. If you'd like to work that, volunteer to do that, you don't have to buy a ticket to get in.
That's if you hadn't already bought your tickets.
November the 10th will be a church business meeting to approve the 2025 budget. I encourage everybody to be there.
Yeah, bring your calculators.
Bring your calculator with you.
Your calculator.
Escape 2025 dates are February 7th through the 9th. The first 50 students to register and pay are $175 each. Go to cbcdeerpark.org to sign up. And then the Thanksgiving Potluck Fellowship Luncheon will be Sunday, November the 17th, immediately following the morning service. There'll be an online menu for sign-ups coming soon. So they're going to, I guess they'll put it online and you can sign up for what you want to bring to the potluck.
How long has it been since we had a potluck?
I don't know, we had a couple.
That's too long.
We had a couple of pitch-ins.
You don't have to join them. We're trying to educate them.
Oh boy, you got the wrong people for that.
Oh, whoa. Where we at now?
Okay, let's go to prayers.
What's the password for Mark Lowry?
You got to call them. It's some jumbled up bunch of.
Yeah. See me before you buy tickets.
Do what?
See me before you buy tickets.
Okay.
Why didn't you tell us that?
Can I see you before I buy tickets?
You're looking at me. Y'all not bought tickets? Y'all not bought tickets?
I don't need. I'm working. I'm volunteering.
I might bid them then. I might start a bid on them.
Start a raffle.
Exactly.
Okay. Before we get too far out of hand.
Out of hand. That's the song.
Yeah. You can see the prayer requests up on the board. Remember Kim's mom graduated last week, the other day. Donnie Tickle with his cancer treatments.
He has, Jacob has 2 more treatments. He's off 6 weeks, and then he will have a blood test to see where it is. I just
Okay.
got to this morning.
Okay, so me and Brad, we're both getting elderly. Lois, where did we get that from?
Who gave us Lois with rheumatoid?
Oh, would that be maybe Karen?
Yes, I think so.
It might have been Karen.
I don't know.
Continue prayers for the Houston family, Debbie Houston family. Larry's ongoing, still going to the doctor. Bethany's dad.
That's
still.
from Lisa.
He's doing better.
He's
Okay.
doing
He's
better.
got other issues, but he's doing better.
Okay.
How's Jamie doing?
She's doing much better.
Okay.
She's here this morning. Yeah.
She is here? Okay, good. Donna Jones is home and doing well.
How about that, Kim?
You know, considering everything that's happened, it's been a miracle, and we're blessed that she gets to do outpatient care versus going into a rehab facility. But it's a slow process, but yeah, she's.
We're going to keep her on the prayer list. Yeah.
Keep her on the prayer list.
Absolutely.
Linda Pullig's got an infection. I talked to I ran into Joel.
Now, I know when he tells you this, none of us are like this,
No.
okay?
I ran into Joel down in LaPorte when we went to vote. So we walked outside and I asked him how his mom was doing. He said, well, she's doing all right. She's getting better. She'd do a whole lot better if she would do what she's supposed to do.
Now,
And I told him, I started laughing. I said, well, yeah, you got to understand, the older we get, the more hard-headed we get, and we don't listen very well.
but I want y'all to think about that. Joel told Brad that.
Yeah.
That's the pot calling the kettle
Is
black.
that, I was gonna say, that's certainly the pot calling the kettle black. Drusilla, Drew, your brother-in-law's rough.
Yeah, they gave him 6 months. He's, they can't, they're gonna do chemo, I think, or something, I don't know, but, they don't give him much, you know.
Okay.
He's at home with feeding tube, he's still not eating.
Okay, so Alan's surgery, Mims, he was supposed to go in Friday,
Right.
but they evidently, they moved it on him, so it's supposed to be, now it's supposed to be
Tuesday the 29th. Is there anything else we need to add to that list?
Gayla Ayers is Debbie DeLuise's aunt,
Just aunt.
and she has cancer, and it's very bad.
What's her first name?
Gayla,
Gayla?
They call her Gay Gay. That was Debbie's sister.
G-A-L-A?
G-A,
G-A-Y-L-A.
G-A-Y-L-A?
Gayla,
Ayers.
A-Y-E-R-S?
Yes.
E-R-S.
Yeah, A-Y-E-R-S.
what?
A-Y-E-R-S. It's funny how I can
Jackie
remember
told
stuff
me
like
they had
that.
moved her to hospice, but
Okay.
I don't know where.
Okay. Anybody else?
So for our age group, let's always look at the positive side. There's a lot of things that hospice does that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in.
Right.
They're there for that too, but there's a lot of things they do to help you get back on your feet also,
Yeah.
sometimes.
I think Gary was on hospice a couple of years.
Yeah.
So
It's a form of help.
seems like it anyway.
Don't everybody? Melissa, would you pray this morning? And would you pray for the good news that Donna got to go home? And lift up Drusilla's brother-in-law.
And Kim's family.
That would be Donna, right?
Her mother passing.
Oh, what now? Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm all right.
He's slow, but he's sure.
I'm not even sure about that anymore. Okay, Donna and Kim's mother, don't tell me, Gertrude. And then Drusilla's brother-in-law. Please, ma'am.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today. Each of us carry burdens that we don't share, Lord, but I pray, Heavenly Father, that you will be with Ken and Billy, Lord, as they have really gone through a lot of storms in the past few months, Lord. And I pray, Lord, that you will be with them as they make their arrangements to go to North Carolina. And Lord, I pray for the funeral home that they will be cooperative, because they're not right now, Lord, but you can change their hearts. And I pray, Lord, for them as they travel, as the family all travels, Lord, just watch over and protect them, even though they're going into North Carolina and they're going to have to switch their routes because of the Hurricane Helene, Lord. Just give them wisdom and comfort, Lord, as they travel, Lord. Lord, I pray for Drusilla's brother-in-law. I know they were not expected this. No one expects cancer, Lord, but Lord, it is, he doesn't have much time to live, Lord, and I just pray if he's not a Christian, Lord, that he will come to you. Lord, I pray for his wife and the family, Lord, for Drusilla, as she supports them, Lord. Just give them each strength that they need for healing touch. And Lord, I pray also for Donna. I thank you, Lord, blessing in her life. A lot of prayers have been said on her behalf, Lord. And for her to even get to go home, Lord, is such an amazing miracle. I pray for her continued health, Lord, and then one day, Lord, let her give a testimony of how God cared for her. We give you honor and praise, and Lord, we pray for this Sunday school class today, Lord, that you will really drive the message home to us of what you want to say, and Lord, for the service today, Lord, that souls will come, Lord, that we will rejoice in their coming, Lord, and that we will honor and serve you. In Jesus' name I pray.
Anybody familiar with this story?
Oh, yeah.
I hope so, because they left out a lot of verses that we're not going to read. That you better know the story, because we're just going to read. We're going to read the verses they give us, and then in our commentary they tell us about all the other verses they didn't give us to read. But I did see this from a new perspective for me. Maybe I saw some stuff that I knew. I just didn't really think about it that hard. But anyway, we're in Genesis 25, and we're going to read. We're only going to read verses 24 through 28, unless I just decide to do otherwise. But anyway, Genesis 25, 24 through 28. Are those up there? Tony, can you read that?
And when her days were to be were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over and hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out. And his hand took hold on Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob.
So first and foremost, because I don't remember ever hearing or seeing this lesson presented this way. It's about playing favorites. And so one of the first things it says, or maybe I just thought about it, and I'm thinking like, now we're being recorded, okay? Kim's already grinning, man. I know. Well, let me just say this: I was not the favorite. Okay, growing up. You sure know, don't you?
I'm with you, Alan.
I was not. She was for a while, and then the third would come along. And so I could say I really thought. I'm laughing. I'm making light of this, but I'm going to be honest. I'm going to jump off first. I really believe. I'm going to refer to my children right now. I don't know that I favored one of my daughters over the other. I don't. They were completely different. That's a fact. I mean, because that kind of makes it easy. But I don't know that I favored one over the other.
You generally favor them off and on. Sometimes this one's your favorite, and then sometimes they're not. Sometimes this one's your favorite, and sometimes they're not.
I won't say Alan favored Dawnette, but he would back her out of his driveway to pick up a bus at the corner of his driveway.
I did? You sure that wasn't Daphne?
What a y'all.
It was Daphne. Now, I would back her out of the driveway because I didn't want her hitting nothing. I mean, that's a fact.
Well, I would say they were your favorite.
You got a point, though, Billy.
Different times, you know, as a mother's perspective, if you ask Robert who my favorite was, he would tell you Annie. If you ask Annie, she's going to tell you Robert was my favorite. But as a mother, it wasn't a matter of who was my favorite. It was a matter of who needed me at certain times. And I was there for them. It had nothing to do with favoritism, but by being there and supporting them and helping them at the times that they needed me more than the other child may have needed me at the time.
And hopefully they both didn't need you at the same time.
Yes.
But she did, but she,
That
but,
was hard.
but she managed it, but there's your answer. Annie thought Robert was. Robert thought Annie was, because that's the balance. She balanced between them. So God has a sense of humor, okay? Because the older I get, the memory's not as good, and it's not as easy to speak. Therefore, I had the problem just a minute ago. I was like, what? And then, oh yeah, okay. So here's the deal. It was real easy when I only had two. You're my favorite oldest, and you're my favorite youngest. Okay? Now it's just like quadrupled, because I have 6 grandchildren. Now I'm going to stop there, and I'm not going to say names, but I would be lying in church if I said I did not have a favorite. So I'm going to stop right there. Then God gives you great grandchildren. Oh, baby. That's a whole other story right there.
Well, if I'd known how great grandchildren were, I'd have him first.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Your grandkids are the only reason you don't give your kids to the circus when they're teenagers. And then the grandkids come along, and it's even twice that.
Listen, you're sitting there. You're not sitting here. You don't see the expressions when you said that. Okay? Ellie just sat there. Zach's got his eyes cut.
You know, but here's the thing. Even though at times you have favorites, as a parent, and you don't always get it right, I didn't always get it right, but you try to be fair. Okay? My father gave me some of the most sage advice in the world when first supervisor's job I got. And he said, whatever you do,
Be fair.
in your decisions, be fair.
Consistent, too.
And consistent. The people that work for you may not always agree with your decision, but they'll accept it because they know that you're being fair. You have that, they know that about you. Same thing with your kids. Do you have favorites at times? Yes, you do. Or like
I'm going with what Kim said.
with what Kim said, it's who gets in trouble the most gets most attention, all right, or whatever. But the secret is to be fair. Were they fair here?
Hold on. I'm not done playing yet.
Oh,
Yeah, as a parent, you can never be fair enough.
no,
Right. No.
They don't let you.
no.
I think Kim had the best answer. The confusion is, and I'm not real sure if we questioned our daughters, I think it'd be the same answer. I think one said, no, I think you favored her more, and the other would say the same thing, which means Daphne was definitely even-handed, okay? I was manipulated. I mean, that's the bottom line. I had girls. I mean, that's it. And here's the deal. I think about it, and I'm kind of leery about it, but even now, I would, if they need something, it doesn't matter which one it is. I'm going to go out to a fault. I'm going to go out on my way to get it. Even the grandkids know now. One of the famous things is my oldest grandson called me one time and said, Papa, I need a vehicle. I said, okay. I said, what are you looking for? And he told me, I said, well, have you talked to your daddy? He said, no, Mom said to call you. And I don't care right now because I know she knows it's true. And I said, she did. She said, yeah, you got that money tree in the back. I said, brother, they cut it down before they left. Both your mom and your aunt did. So, what? I thought you were zipping something, like your mouth. You were going to say
No,
jump out there.
I just thought it was kind of neat in this story when you look at the names and the meaning of their names.
Yes.
Esau means hairy. And then he got a nickname, Edom, which means red. It was his nickname. But the cool one was Jacob's name.
Yeah.
You read the part where it says about grabbing, and his hand took hold on
Took
Esau's heel.
A laid hold or took hold?
Well, Jacob means heel gripper,
Mm-hmm.
and it's given in the connotation of as if to catch or trip someone, or as a schemer or a deceiver. That was what they named him, and then what happened in the story. It was a little known fact and figure.
Well, I mean, in the lesson, it breaks it all down. It's like when it says that it says that he took hold of his heel. That's not a favorable statement. That means he got latched on because to Brad's point. And there's several other names for Esau other than just Harry. One of the words was CIR, seer, or something like that. But for Jacob, and this is what's unique, or say funny. I said unique. I don't know why. I first thought it was funny about how the Lord works. Everything that we're going to talk about, anything that we say from now on, all the way to the end of it, if it wasn't in God's plan to put Jacob where he was, or for Jacob to be who he is, it wouldn't have happened. So it's funny, unique, amazing how God does things. But at the end of the day, if you read it the way the lesson brought it out, which I've not read it that way before, Isaac showed favoritism to Esau. And then
Because Esau was feeding him.
yeah, Rebecca, right? That's mom. Rebecca showed favoritism to Jacob, to the point. We ain't got that
I
far.
got that for you then. You want to read them?
Are we ready to move to the next one? Okay.
And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. That's as Rebekah talking to Jacob.
So,
Go.
is there more?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go now to the flock and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. Now that's her talking to Jacob.
So Brad may remember more, or if he's looking at it. So one of the things that they brought out that I had not paid attention to before. So Isaac is telling Esau, go do this for me, and therefore when you come back, I'm going to give you a blessing before I die. And if you read it for what it is, like, oh, he's about to die. No. The best I can remember from reading it, he's 100 and something years old. Theoretic, or what they say is both of the boys were about 77. They'd been around a while, and after everything that we're going to read happens, Isaac lives another possibly 25 to 30 years. So Esau showing favoritism. I'm like, I hadn't thought about it that way. I did think about it for about a split second. I mean, the reason he liked Esau is because Esau was feeding him.
Feeding venison.
Yeah, feeding him. And did I understand maybe that he cooked it for him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Danny?
You got to put it in historical perspective too. He at that time you looked at your oldest son as he's the one who's going to stretch your line out. You're going to give him most of your everything you own. He's going to be
Double.
the progenitor.
Double.
Yeah, he's going to be the progenitor of your seed and all this and that and the other. So he's putting a certain amount of respect. He's going to be kind of your favorite because you're looking at him through a certain kind of lens historically. And the other son, because he wasn't told what his wife was told. When she was going to have this baby, God told her something. And I don't know if he was actually told that, because he might have had a different outlook. So,
Jacob?
What he's referring to is God had already decreed who was gonna get the blessing.
right. and so
Exactly.
She knew this, and she believed, and so she just jumped on the other side and said, I'm gonna take his side. I'm gonna go on God's side.
So I remember that too. And to that point, Danny, there's another good point to be made there. Who is Isaac the son of? Who's Isaac's daddy? Abraham. Did Abraham mess up? You read the story about Abraham, and there's certain parts of Abraham that Abraham did certain things all the way to the end. And one of the things he did was to build an altar everywhere he went. The next thing he did, he tried to pass his wife off as his sister. Isaac did the same exact thing. Same exact thing. Like father, like son. So you talk about her hearing about Jacob. What did Abraham do when he got tired of waiting on the Lord for that son?
Try to take control.
He tried to take control. What is Rebecca doing? She's repeating the same thing.
She knows Jacob has been promised it. It's like she don't trust the Lord, and she's gonna try to make sure that he gets it because she heard what Isaac had said.
That's right. What'd you say, Melissa?
God needs our help, but that's what we think.
Do what?
God needs our help, that's what
Well,
we
he that's what they think, but he doesn't. He doesn't. And just like they did, they messed it up. But the thing is that, and I mentioned this a lot because I thought about it when I read it. Not only did they orchestrate a lie, they orchestrated deception, and I think deception's worse than lying. They're bad, both of them. None of them are good. But deception is you're actually trying to deceive someone from something that you shouldn't be doing, or you should have told them, and you don't want them to know. That's deception.
Yeah, and I don't know whether Jacob did or did not know what the Lord had decreed, but the bottom line was this wasn't his idea. He went along with it, which he's just as guilty, but it wasn't his idea. It was his mother's idea.
But because of the deception, we are still feeling this today. Right now, it's going on over there. The separation, this fight, all this stuff comes from
Esau.
Yeah. From this.
Yeah, I thought about that when I was reading it because one of the other words for Esau, Harry, read, and then the other word that popped up, S-E-I-R, seer, I guess, who he married. This is what they didn't put in there, and I don't want to get deep off into it, and I'm probably not going to say it all the way correct, but this, and I actually had forgot about this until I read it. So all of this is happening, right? Well, before this, unless I misread it, Esau, where I picked up and started reading, Esau is in some kind of a bind. He's hungry, he's in trouble, and he goes to his brother for help. And he asks his brother, like, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I need some food. Isaac, the one that's following his mother's command, Jacob, I'm sorry. Jacob, he bribes his, what do you call it? His heirship, or his first rights of birth. He bribes Esau out of it. I'll feed you if you'll give me your birthright. Anybody remember? I know y'all remember it. But Jacob's just as bad. His nickname, what was that nickname? Deceiver? Deceiver. Trip me up kind of guy, that's him. And there you go back to the fact God will use anybody. But to Danny's point and Brad's point, God had a plan. The problem is we don't have the patience to wait on his plan.
If they would have waited on his plan, things would have been different. Esau or Jacob wouldn't have paid the price he's going to pay. And one of the things that was brought out is even though Rebecca was willing to assume responsibility, we hadn't read that yet, but
yeah.
Bottom line is Jacob still has to pay consequences for his actions.
You want to read those?
Yeah, and Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father's peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, and upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them. Like I said, she was willing to take responsibility for it, but he was still part of it, and he still had to pay the consequences for it.
It's not like he didn't know what she was up
Well, he knew exactly what she was doing, and he went along with it. He should have said, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right?
Yeah.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
That's our human nature. And Rebecca was a mom, and she was like, this is my baby, and I'm not gonna have him left out. We're gonna make sure
Yeah.
he gets this. And, you know, we do that still today. We make those decisions that instead of trusting God, we step in and we do it with our kids sometimes, because in our heart, we think we're protecting them and doing what's good for them. But in the end, when we go out of God's will, we're not protecting them.
Yeah, the write-up we got here, so consider the fallout caused by the parental favoritism. A husband and wife know they cannot trust each other for the rest of their days. Twin brothers are forever enemies. Rebekah loses both sons as Esau has lost all his trust in her, and Jacob will now run away for fear of his life. Rebekah's favoritism ripped apart her entire family.
The other comment too that went along with that was there's not any place to go that shows that Rebekah ever saw Jacob again. There's a possibility she did not.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. If you watch the flow of things, she's lying. She's telling her son to lie. She's pulling deception. And watch how you go along. He falls right into the trap with her. It's like, okay, Mom, that's all a good idea, but when he touches my hand, he knows it's not. He's going to know it's not Esau. What are we going to do about that? So he's right in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. But and I thought about that for a minute. For whatever reason, that's kind of about the time when I jumped back and looked at some of the verses before, and that's when I found out or remembered, or I really don't remember it. That's when I found out that Jacob tried or did bribe him out of his heirship. Say, hey, sign your stuff over to me, denounce your heirship to me, and give it to me. And I mean, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't feed him until he did it, and Esau did it. And then Esau's words were like, I'm cursed because of this. I'm cursed because I was the first one. He's like, I just want out of this. I'm hungry. So when you read it, I'm trying to figure out. So Esau was a hunter, a provider, an outdoorsman. What was Jacob?
He was a plain man.
And what?
Mom's boy.
What? Danny got it. Danny knew exactly where my mind was going. He was a mama's boy. I am too. He was a mama. I was going to call him a city slicker. How's that sound?
Well,
I mean,
Anyway,
I mean,
they were polar opposites.
polar opposites. But Esau was my kind of guy. I like to hunt too. Hunt, fish, and everything else. I think in the outcome. I mean, the outcome. Jacob's going to learn his lessons as he goes along. But I'm. So, if you look at the verses that got sent out today for the devotional that we did today, everything that God does to us, it's His plan. It's working on our testimony. Jacob's a bad name, a bad rap. I say it's a bad name. That's all going to get fixed in the future, right? Because what is Jacob eventually called? Israel. And so when you're studying the prophets and you start reading about Jacob and Israel, then you got to look at the verbiage of the sentence on which Israel are we talking about? Israel the man or Israel the city, the people, you know? So it gets kind of sticky in there. But at the end of the day, everything that he did, everything that happened in his life was to a point to bring him to this point, which was the good point. And everything that was done to Esau took him the wrong direction. And so,
Well, the bottom line here is God's got a plan. And God's going to work his plan.
in spite of us, or
In
with
spite of
us?
us or anything else, in spite of us trying to take control or whatever we may do, his plan is going to be enacted. So, in this case, had they trusted God and let God run his plan the way he originally intended it, the family wouldn't have been broke apart. They wouldn't have been bitter enemies for the rest of their life. The parents would still get along, yada, yada, yada. I mean, just on and on and on. It's a lesson for us. The application for us is the same. If you show favoritism, you can rip your family completely apart.
And that's what this lesson is about, is family favorites. They right from the beginning, they decided to take sides and start picking. And twins are usually very close. These kids had no choice almost. They didn't like each other from the get-go. And it's because they made these choices. And we were talking about Israel. He had his favorites. And look how that played out.
Yeah. Danny said that, and if you read, it's either the first or second verse of the lesson, you instantly see the favoritism. It's instant.
Oh, it's there.
It's right there.
Well, and like you said, these guys are like 70 years old, okay? So this has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
It isn't like this just happened suddenly overnight.
That brings and I never thought about that till I read the lesson. That brought a whole new perspective on it. It's like, I'm thinking they're like born instantly. Well, when they were born, we get the account that, hey, when they were born, Jacob grabbed the seal. But what's going on is like 77 years later. And I don't know that I remember hearing about that part of it. It's kind of like the lessons, the messages that I've heard from the pulpit. It just skips a whole bunch of verses. They talk about one or two verses. And that works when you're doing an application type thing. One of the things I thought about for an application is, I kind of asked around the room, so I could ask it this way. I asked around the room, did you play favorites with your kids? We're going to just stop there because we know, like, what did Warren say? Thank goodness the reason I didn't get rid of my kids is because if I'd have known how good the grandkids would, I got rid of them a long time ago. I didn't say that, but I did agree with it. I was looking at the camera right then. So let me reverse the question. How many people in here have seen other people play favoritism with their kids? Oh, the hands go up. Surely wasn't with your sisters or brothers, right? I just come off the cuff of it. I don't know. Again, how many people have seen other people play favoritism with their kids? What's another way that we could play favoritism with our kids without saying things? Our actions speak louder than words, don't they?
Or not allowing. Privileges, whatever you want to say. It doesn't have,
But
Huh?
you know, by playing favorites, we're putting labels on our kids. You're the good one, you're the bad one, or you're this and you're that. And kids tend to live up to those labels.
man.
You might not tell one that you're my favorite, but you might say a negative to one that makes them different than the other one.
Hey, there's no manual that comes with
There is no-
there
that
is
is
no
no
manual
guarantee,
for
buddy.
being a parent. And I can't tell you the number of times I've heard, well, you didn't make her do that. Well, no, we learned from the first one that you didn't have to do that. You say you don't do that with the second one, or in our case, the third one. You know, that's so it all goes back to being fair. If you're being fair, then you don't have that issue. Can you do it all the time? Are you going to do it all the time? No.
Try to.
You try to,
I'm
but
gonna defer back to Danny. We think we're fair, but they're gonna tell you that we're not. That's all there
When
is
you
to
have
it.
5 kids, you know a whole lot more on child 5 than you did on child 1.
exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's no manual that comes, you know, your first baby's born and you don't get this manual all of a sudden that says step 1, step 2, step 3.
Oh, they get manuals now. They get plenty of manuals now. I guarantee you they get thrown away about the second child.
Yeah.
There's a big difference now. Me who didn't have kids, believe me, I have nieces and nephews. And let me tell you something. Talk about shock one day when I said, well, you're my favorite. And I get it back on my phone recorded. Everybody, this is proof this is Aunt Linda's favorite. So, you know, they got ways.
Yeah, that's her issue. My issue is that I hear them having a discussion. Well, this is so much fun. I hear the 6 of them, they're having a discussion. Okay? And the oldest boy chirps up and says, well, I'm the favorite. I just laughed. And then the oldest girl says, oh no, I got proof I'm the favorite. And I'm like, really? Oh, this is starting to get interesting. And so I'm listening, and they look at her like, what do you mean? She goes, well, just go to Nana's house and see how many pictures of me are hanging on the wall. So my point to that is, it happens when we don't think it's happening.
It happens whether you've done something or not.
But you know, also with raising our kids, what works with one kid doesn't always work with the other.
About 90% of the time, it won't work with the other.
Yeah, you know, it's not a matter of being fair, it's a matter of figuring out what works well with each child. And there's a difference between boys and girls, and we raise them a little bit different. And they use that against you too, because they say you didn't do that with me. And
One of the girls.
sometimes, like I said, sometimes our rules for girls are different than our rules for the boys were.
So time has taught me differently, because I had one that had all boys and I had one that had all girls. And the one that had all girls, like, I don't want any boys. And the one that had all boys, I don't want any girls. I'm going, okay,
Whatever.
turn that thing off.
No. This is interesting.
No, I got a story.
It's just like one of my girls, I could get her attention by just giving her a look and talking in a deeper voice. One, you take the phone away from them. You know, that worked.
That hurts you.
Mirror.
Yeah, that hurts you. If you take the car away from them, that hurts you.
No, it didn't. They just didn't get to go. You want me to turn it off?
Yeah.